Starling City was still adjusting to the return of Oliver Queen, the once presumed dead billionaire heir who had washed ashore after 5 years lost at sea. To the world, he was a changed young man trying to reclaim his life. But in the shadows, he was something far more dangerous, an archer with a mission to right the wrongs that were destroying his home. Each night he stepped into the darkness, guided by a father's dying plea and the weight of secrets he carried from the island that shaped him. Lone Gunmen opened with Oliver back on his crusade. His target was a corrupt industrialist whose company had drained pensions and left families bankrupt. It was just another name on his father's infamous list, another criminal feeding on the weak. Oliver infiltrated the man's private facility with the practiced precision of a predator. Guards never saw him coming. Arrows dropped them one by one with frightening efficiency. By the time his terrified target realized what was happening, Oliver had the bowstring drawn and the confession extracted. It should have been a flawless mission. But this night marked the arrival of a new threat, a threat Oliver had not prepared for. Just as he prepared to escape unseen, a sniper far away lined up a perfect headshot. Oliver only survived because of instincts honed under brutal training. He tumbled out of the killing zone just as a single bullet tore through the metal support behind where he'd stood. For the first time on a mission, someone was hunting him. And not just anyone. An assassin who shot with inhuman precision. Back at the Queen Mansion, Oliver hid the near-fatal encounter behind his usual detached calm. The household continued with its strained version of normalcy. His mother, Moira Queen, tried desperately to reconnect with the son she barely recognized. His sister, Thea, battled her own resentment, feeling abandoned even though Oliver had been the one who was lost. And then there was John Diggle, his new bodyguard, a man he neither wanted nor yet understood, but who was far sharper and more capable than Oliver liked to admit. While Diggle saw a privileged young man wasting time at parties and Playboy distractions, he couldn't yet pierce the truth. Oliver was simply maintaining the cover the world expected of him. But the attempt on his life had shaken him. Somewhere out in the city, a professional assassin had nearly killed him without even revealing their presence. Oliver needed answers. Instead of returning to the field recklessly, he began digging into ballistics evidence and underground rumor. His search led him to a name whispered in criminal circles: Deadshot, a mercenary who never missed. Every bullet he fired was marked with intricate etchings, a morbid signature that police had barely begun to understand. He killed for money and without remorse, and someone had hired him to take Oliver off the board. Unbeknownst to Oliver, his own mother was also entangled in the city's dark undercurrents. Moira had been secretly meeting with powerful figures responsible for the corruption her husband had died trying to expose. They were afraid of the hooded vigilante shaking up their operations. To her mysterious business partner, Malcolm Merlin, this masked archer was a threat that needed to be neutralized. Moira didn't yet know that her own son was the vigilante they feared. Despite the chaos closing in, Oliver's private life still forced its way forward. His best friend, Tommy Merlin, begged him to reconnect with people, especially Laurel Lance, the woman Oliver had once destroyed emotionally before the shipwreck ruined them all physically. Laurel, now a lawyer fighting corporate greed, was still torn between buried affection and unhealed wounds. The relationships around Oliver were fragile, and every lie he told stretched them thinner. Determined to track Deadshot, Oliver knew he needed access to police information he could never retrieve through normal channels. That's when he started watching and studying a curious figure at the police station, a blonde IT specialist named Felicity Smoke, whose unmatched tech skills and honest awkwardness stood out in the emotionally gray world Oliver inhabited. He brought him false evidence, corporate computer files, he claimed, and asked for analysis. Felicity didn't buy the excuses, But she played along, intrigued and suspicious in equal measure. The intel she uncovered confirmed Oliver's greatest fear. Deadshot was killing business leaders across the city, systematically taking out figures connected by a network of financial transactions. He wasn't just a hired gun. He was eliminating select individuals for someone higher up the chain. The next target was Oliver's own family, specifically Walter Steele, the CEO of Queen Consolidated and Moira's new husband. Walter had recently begun poking into old accounts and vanished company funds, money linked to the same shadowy dealings that cost Robert Queen his life. Deadshot had been contracted to end that curiosity permanently.
Oliver realized he had little time left. Diggle, meanwhile, was getting closer and closer to uncovering Oliver's nighttime activities. He noticed the disappearing acts, the inexplicable bruises, and the near-military precision Oliver showed in the simplest everyday movement. Diggle began digging, professionally and personally. When Oliver slipped away yet again, Diggle followed him. That night, Oliver tracked Deadshot to an abandoned industrial district. The sniper was already in position, preparing for the shot that would end Walter's life. Oliver engaged silently from the shadows, firing arrows in quick succession. Deadshot countered with frightening accuracy, forcing Oliver into rapid, evasive movement. The assassin's single eye, hidden behind a cybernetic targeting lens, glowed under city lights as he adjusted his aim with mechanical calm. The two men clashed, one firing bullets and the other arrows, each trained by harsh worlds the other could not imagine. But Oliver had something Deadshot lacked, a memory of the sacrifices that shaped him. The cold mountain training under Yao Fei, the starvation, the fight for survival each day. It had honed more than just skill, it forged resolve. But victory came at a cost. As Oliver finally landed the decisive shot on Deadshot, Diggle stormed into the firefight. Mistaking Diggle for another hired gun, Deadshot spun and fired. The bullet hit Diggle in the chest, dropping him hard. Oliver had a split second to choose: pursue the assassin he finally had at his mercy, or save the life of the man who had been a constant thorn in his side. On the island, choices like these had once meant life or death. Some decisions had cost Oliver his humanity, but he had sworn never to let that happen again. He abandoned the chase, rushed to Diggle, and used a battlefield medical kit to stabilize him. Then, in a move that shattered the walls he had built between truth and deception, Oliver carried Diggle back to his hidden underground base beneath the old Queen steel factory. When Diggle awoke, he was surrounded by weapon racks, tactical maps, and the city list pinned like a roadmap of future justice. Then he saw Oliver, not as a spoiled playboy, not as a rich kid with a tragic past, but as the archer who had nearly changed the city's criminal landscape in a matter of weeks. Oliver removed the hood and spoke the words that changed their partnership forever. "You have questions? I have answers. But first, I need your help." The truth was exposed. Diggle now knew the real man behind the mask, and the crusade was no longer Oliver's alone.